welcome to another special edition on travels on the YOLO Adventure Travel Channel. Today we're going to talk about Italy again. And many people have been to Italy and some haven't been at all. But they usually go to the big cities, Rome, Florence, and Venice. But I'm here to talk to you about the 20 beautiful small towns in Italy to plan your next trip around.
YOLO Adventure!
Italy, if you want an authentic experience that you're after. With fewer monuments and sights to see, they tend to force you to slow down and embrace the Italian lifestyle. That might mean sunbathing and swimming in the beach, twirling spaghetti with clams at a little restaurant overlooking the water, and going to a leisurely stroll in the historic center before dinner. It could mean wine tasting and truffle hunting in the countryside. Or it could mean skiing and cozying up in a rifugio in the mountains. Whatever your idea is of a good time, there's a small town in Italy that's bound to satisfy your desires. From glamorous beach towns on the Amalfi coast to medieval villages in Tuscany and Umbria, these small towns are worth visiting on your next trip. So let's get started. In Ercole in Tuscany, with a population of only 3,000, it's located in Monte Argentario, which is essentially a little island connected to the Tuscan coast by a narrow causeway. Porto Ercole is an idyllic beach enclave that draws an in-the-know crowd. Baroque bad boy painter Caravaggio died there, but it was Slim Aarons that captured the town's mystique during its Dolce Vita heyday. The action centered around the legendary Hotel Il Pelicano, which is celebrating its 60th anniversary this year and is still a hotspot for discerning travelers. La Rocca, the new kid on the block, is also worth checking out. Another town you've never heard of and you should visit is Maratea Basilicata. In one of Italy's least touristy regions, Maratea has a rugged coastline with little coves and inlets that make it feel a bit like the undeveloped version of the Amalfi Coast. And a trip here will cost a fraction of what you'd pay there. The only town in Basilicata on the Tyrrhenian coast, Maratea, has a charming village vibe and a monument, that statue of the Christ of the Redeemer, which is inspired by the one that's in Rio de Janeiro. The man who gifted it to the town in the 1960s is also behind Santo Venere, once a hotspot for movie stars and other celebrities. It's now a member of the leading hotels of the world, and the resort still holds a film festival every summer in honor of its cinematic past. Many people have heard about Portofino in Liguria. It only has a population of 355. The coastal town of Portofino has long been a favorite escape for the rich and famous in search of a bit of Dolce Vita glamour. It also has a wealth of excellent hotels, very expensive, like the Splendito, the Belmond, and the Grand Hotel Miramara, plus great shopping and, of course, that radiant coastline. Even better, it's less than an hour's drive to the port of the city Genoa, the place of pesto and the birth of focaccia bread. Another town is on the island of Sardinia, called Carloforte. The only town on the Isola di San Pietro off the coast of Sardinia, Carloforte is a hidden gem with gin-clear water and some of the most laid-back beaches in Italy. The town was settled in the 1700s by Ligurian sailors who painted the buildings pretty pastel colors, so it's a lovely place to wander around. Historically, it's been an important center for tuna fishing, so the restaurants in town serve tuna in more ways than you can imagine. You won't find five-star luxury resorts here, but if you're an intrepid traveler who wants to get off the beaten path, this is one of those best places to go. One of my favorite places in the region of Puglia is Alberobello. Alberobello has about 10,000 in population. The main draw of Alberobello, a small town near Bari in Puglia, is its characteristic trulli. These are whitewashed houses with cone-shaped roofs that look like something out of a fairy tale. Thanks to this distinctive feature, the world has now been made a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1996. Here's a pro tip. Head up to the Piazza di Popolo, where the Belvedere Trulli outlook offers spectacular views of the entire town. You can even stay in a trullo, many of which have been converted into villas available to rent versus Airbnb or the thinking traveler. Another favorite of mine is Polinaro a Mare in Puglia, which is near alberobello. It's situated on a limestone cliff that slices into the ocean. The tiny town of Polinaro a Mare, known as the Pearl of the Adriatic, is one of the most romantic spots in Puglia. Spend a day exploring its sandy bays and inlets via boat, or simply get lost in the town's winding, whitewashed streets and admire the statue of hometown hero Domenico Modugno, the singer most famous for his song Volare. Off the southernmost coast of Italy is Sicily, and the first town you come into, which is wonderful, is Taormina. There's something especially dreaming about Taormina. It's cliff-top town on the island of Sicily. The views of Mount Etna and the Ionian Sea hypnotize, and the ancient ruins and cafe-lined streets will keep you occupied. But we wouldn't blame you if you were to check into the Grand Hotel Tomeo, a Belmont hotel, or Santo Domingo Palace, a Four Seasons hotel, where the second season of The White Lotus was filmed, and never leave the room. Just look at and enjoy it. In Positano and Campania, you wouldn't know from its amount of tourists in the high season, but the population of Positano is well under 5,000 people. Yet the cliffside village on the south of the Amalfi coast is one that lingers in the imagination. John Steinbeck wrote for Harper's Bazaar after visiting it in 1953, and he said, and I quote, "Positano bites deep. It's a dream place that isn't quite real when you're there and becomes beckoningly real after you have gone. Spend your days here boating to discover the blue grottos and hiking past groves of round, juicy Sorrento lemons. And make sure you pay a visit to the Museum Archeologico Romano under the domed Church of the Santa Maria Assunta to see the remains of a Roman villa with vibrant frescoes that are even better preserved than the ones in Pompeii. Another little-known place is called Praiano Campania. Along the Amalfi coast lies the town of Praiano, close to Positano, which is packed with beautiful beaches like Marina di Praia and Ghivatella, and it has a culture to boot. Come here for stunning ancient churches, towers, and sacred sculptures. If you go north of Rome, in Aronia, designed as one of the Porghi più belli d'Italia, the most beautiful villages in Italy. This little Umbrian town is just a half hour from Orvieto and has beautiful views of the rolling hills that give it the region the name Italian's Green Heart. Virtually untouched by tourism, Alona will give you a taste of authentic village life. In an area called Cinque Terre, you have Speralonga in Lazio. Speralonga was the former hideaway of many Roman emperors, and no wonder. The tiny town's pristine beaches, rich greenery, and proximity to Rome, just over an hour by train, make the perfect weekend escape. The town has an excellent museum, the Museum Archeologico di Speralonga, which is set among the ancient ruins of Emperor Tiberius's old villa. Another town nearby is called Vernazza. Vernazza is the steepest and loveliest of the Cinque Terre villages. Its streets are lined with signature candy-colored houses and enough gelateria to do your own tasting tour, while the town itself slopes down to a small sandy beach in Cinque Terre's only natural harbor. Though sea views pop up at every turn, you'll find the most impressive one at Belforte, an iconic seafood restaurant, an 11th century castle at the tip of the harbor. Another personal favorite of mine that I visit often is San Gimignano in Tuscany. There are few villages with a skyline as the iconic one of San Gimignano. There are 13 medieval towers rise from the ground like the prescient New York City. The historic center, which is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is encircled by a stone wall, which visitors will find many examples of Romanesque and Gothic architecture outside. The sloping hillsides are covered in olive groves, and did we mention this town is known for its gelato? It's the number one and two best gelato in Italy. Going way north and towards Switzerland, Cortina d'Ampezzo. It's nicknamed the Pearl of the Dolomites. The charming mountain village has long drawn well-to-do Italians and more than a few celebrities to ski in its slopes. In 2026, all eyes will be on Cortina, as it's known by its inhabitants, when it hosts the Winter Olympics in conjunction with Milan. Also in Piedmont is Barolo. A town of Barolo is so tiny you could blink and miss it, except that it draws xenophiles around the globe to its world-class wineries. Barolo wines are the best. There are more than 500 wineries in Barolo region, including trailblazing estates like Gaia and historic wineries like da Milano. Aside from wine tasting, there are major contemporary art installations in the area, and don't miss the Cappella di Barolo with brightly colored exteriors painted by Saul LeWitt. We all know about Como, but located in a little peninsula jutting out into Lake Garda, Italy's largest lake is Sirmione. It's considered one of the lake's prettiest towns. It's worth climbing up the tower at the 14th century Castello Scaligiero for wonderful views of the pastel buildings set against the turquoise lake. Sirmione is also known for its thermal baths and the grottos of Catullus, an architectural site that may have been owned by the Roman poet Catullus. Castel Gandolfo is one of the prettiest towns in Castelli Romani, where the nobility built their summer homes in the hills to escape the heat room. Castel Gandolfo is also the home of the Papal Summer Palace, which Pope Francis opened to the public for the first time in 2016. You don't have to be Catholic to appreciate the beautiful setting. Castel Gandolfo is only 45 minutes from Rome by train, but feels a world away. I spent 2 weeks in Tropea, Calabria, nicknamed the Pearl of the Tyrrhenian. This little town located on Calabria's coast of the gods is full of myths and legends. The hilltop town comes alive in the summer with bars packed with aperitivo hour, restaurants serving local specialties, and ñugna, which is a spicy sausage of Calabria, and dishes made with the purple Tropea onions, very sweet onions, and the shops selling breezy linen clothes. From the Belvedere, you can admire the glittering beaches below and the sanctuary of Santa Maria dell'Isola, connected to the town by a narrow strip of land. I hope you enjoyed this little look of some of the small towns that you may not go to and are off the beaten path, but it is a beautiful way to see Italy and get involved and deeply immersed in its culture. Thank you for watching. We hope you'll subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and make a comment or a question, and I will respond as soon as I can. Have a wonderful day. Arrivederci and buona fortuna.
YOLO adventure.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. And we'll see you in the next video.
YOLO adventure. There's so much more.